This is Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com, and I am hosting a virtual summit today. My next speaker is someone I've known for quite a while online. We've never met in person, but we've done business together, referred clients to each other, had joint projects together, co-hosted a show on Blab when Blab was around, and we both loved Blab. He's originally from Canada, Ontario to my east, and now lives to my west in Kansas. Steve Henry, thank you for being here. I'm going to turn the spotlight over to you.
Thank you very much, Kat. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you for thinking of me when you were putting your speaker list together. I've been out of the frame for video for the better part of this year. I was very sick at the end of last year, and I was doing weekly presentations, in fact, 3 times a week, and I had to give them up. I took it down to 1 time a week, thinking I might be able to manage it, but I packed that in as of January 1st and didn't get back into it. I really was fighting the illness right through into March and early April. But just this last Tuesday, I got back on camera for the first time again, and it felt like the first time. And I had a presentation I was doing for someone I met online, and a program that they run through their Facebook group, and they wanted a speaker, and I was posting in their group. I've been with the group for a while now, and just something that I posted clicked with the person, with the owner, and they invited me to do a session. So that got me back in, and I was already scheduled for this session. So it kind of gave me a little bit of preparation, and I'm just sort of glad to be back here. It feels right. There's something about this that is, when you're in it, it's great. And those of you that do live presentations, you know what it's like, and those who don't, you really should step in. It's not hard. It's not rocket science.
And I love that you bring a different perspective from the other guests. I deliberately looked for guests that would have a different perspective. So we've had a mom with 3, very active kids at home, including one, that's just a 6-year-old. We've got those representing the empty nesters. We've got men represented, and we've got people from 5 different countries, 5 different states, 6 if you count me, and an international audience. So I love that. All right, so we take us into what we're going to talk about, and go ahead and do the share your screen and see if I still need to give you an additional permission here. There you go.
Can we all see that?
I can see that. Can
Okay.
Everybody else see that?
Now, this is, I just wanted to start off. My wife tells me, and Kat knows, I'm a very verbose person, and I tend to go long and overtime and things like that. So my wife said, get something to time yourself with. So I got myself one of these, and I'm going to keep an eye on it as we go. I hope that's okay. So we're going to talk about organic traffic, and I refer to these sessions, I've done them on different topics, as my baker's dozen presentations, because I usually try to share 13 points that get us through the presentation. Sometimes I just have 13 slides. Sometimes I have a few more in order to deal out the 13 points and corollaries with them. But we're talking about organic traffic and managing multiple sources. And so that just fits in nicely with how I make working at home work for me, because anybody running a home-based business really, if it's online especially, they really want to have organic traffic. They want to tap into that source because it is significant. And that's going to be part of what I'm going to share as we go. I want to give a brief introduction for myself. My name is Stephen B. Henry, and if you Google me, the B really helps out, because surprisingly there's a lot of Stephen Henrys around and online. I'm known online by many people as the WordPress wizard or the coach's coach because I work with WordPress and I work with other coaches a lot. But I'm also known by my friends as the Wiz or just Steve, and that works fine for me. I earn my entire living on the internet. Now that's kind of a big step, and it's what most people who are solopreneurs or work from home business owners are aspiring to. And I guess I'm proof that it can be done. You certainly can get there from here if you're not there already. I'm known, I guess what I do is I'm an online presence developer, and that includes being a business success guide and a personal mentor. Besides the techie stuff that I do, which is built upon WordPress, a website platform, I also have a great deal of business experience over the years, and both working corporately and building my own businesses. I've had some great successes and a few miserable failures. So I know what works and what doesn't, and I work with that with my clients because whatever they're doing technically, it needs to fit into that business model. And a lot of people don't really have the business experience. They come from a job where everything was given to them in terms of what to do. They want the independence, but then they get overwhelmed by it. And so I help out with that. And then I'm a personal mentor because the mindset is a big part of what you're going to do when you're online and running your own business. For this particular presentation, let me put some definitions in place just so we kind of have a handle on it. Organic, we're talking about traffic here, and organic is traffic from search engine results. In particular, not paid traffic. It's just when you do a search, the stuff that you get as answers to your search, that's called organic traffic. It isn't just Google, and it isn't just big search engines. Some people will tell you one or the other. It's all search engines. It comes from a search engine, it's organic. Referral traffic comes from a website or from social media, from somebody you know, somebody you've done business with who passes on your contact information. Direct traffic, you'll hear that term a lot, and what it really means is we simply don't know where it comes. We don't know who referred it or what source it came from. And then campaign traffic is when you have a mailing list and send out emails or a newsletter to bring people to you. You pay for ads on Facebook, for example, or you use Google AdWords. That's what we call campaign traffic. And it's those bottom three are separate from organic traffic. Generally, you want an abundance of all of them. But I'm going to talk in particular today about organic traffic because it is so significant. If you look at these numbers and line them up over here on the side, you will see that organic traffic represents about 46%, about a little over 3/4. I'm sorry, a little under half, a little over 2/4 of all the traffic that is out there on the internet. Referral traffic, remember that's where people send people to you, represents about 30%. So that's important too. And you want to build those connections. You want to engage with people so that you get referral traffic. Direct traffic is about 21%, a little over 20%, about a fifth of the traffic. We don't have any way to really account for that, but by building the other two, we will get more of this. Campaign traffic is about 3% of all traffic on the internet. And a lot of people just do campaign traffic. So if that's what you're doing, and of course these are averages, so numbers will be different. And if that's all you're doing, hopefully it's more than 3% of the traffic that you could be getting. But you can see there's a huge piece of the pie, most of it, that you're not getting by focusing on campaign. And campaign traffic is the most expensive. So you may want to reconsider that as well. But we're going to talk about organic traffic, which is a significant, almost half of all traffic on the internet. And so we want to set ourselves up to be able to receive that. We start with what I call the foundation of your online presence, and that's your website. Everybody who's online with a business should have a website. Oh, I know, it's one more thing to learn, and you're doing okay on Facebook or Pinterest or LinkedIn, wherever you happen to be. But the reality is you can do so much better if you build a good website and utilize it, especially for developing organic traffic. There's so much power in that. It does become foundational to any of the other things that you do. So I want to put that in your mind. I happen to prefer WordPress. Something like 60% of all the people who use content management systems, those are things like, that's a dynamic website, things like Wix or Weebly or Drupal, I don't know, any number of them. There's hundreds of content management systems available to you, but 60% of the people that choose a content management system instead of an old style flat website use WordPress. They got to know something, so keep that in mind. And in fact, about 25% of all websites on the internet, and there were a lot there. I built websites for 13 years before WordPress even came around. So there were an awful lot established before WordPress was there, and about 25% of all websites on the internet are WordPress. So you should keep that in mind, but you don't have to use WordPress. There's other good choices. Any website as a foundation for your site. There are 3 questions that are really important here. They're not my questions. They come from Eben Pagan, who's who's one of the top marketing experts in the world. And he says that there are 3 key questions that your website must answer in 5 seconds of a visitor come into your website. And those 3 questions must be answered in the spot that we call, or the area that we call, above the fold. When people first come to your website, what they see before they scroll anywhere or select another page from the menu, they need to see the answers to these 3 questions. You've got to answer who or what is it. Pretty obvious, but I've seen a lot of websites that don't. You get there and you're not sure if you're at the right place. Who or what is it? What's it about? You don't want to bury all the stuff that it's about down, 15 screens down or 4 pages in. You want to give it to the people what's there. And we all are self-centered, self-fulfilling. We want to know, what do I get? So what is it? What's it about? And what do I get? 3 questions that need to be answered by your website. And this is why most websites fail. They don't answer these questions. They might have great stuff. Boy, you've worked your heart out to build a really good website, and you're not getting traffic to it. You don't understand why. Here's an example. This just happens to be one of my websites. It doesn't matter how pretty your website is. It's a pretty plain Jane here. It's just, it's just a functional website. A little bit of a header with a kind of a logo and so, what the website is. But it answers that question, what is it? Did I come to the right website? Yep, it's Wizard's Place. That's cool. It's where I want to be. What's it about? Well, if you read this red text here, it's about solutions for your online presence. It's pretty clear, right there in front of your face. You're going to get it. And what do I get? Well, you can create a profitable online presence as easy as 1, 2, 3. You thought it was hard. I'll show you how to do it easily. So what is it? What's it about? And what do I get? I didn't put those questions up and answer those questions and get into, Q&A stuff on it. I just delivered those answers where they can be readily found. It's that easy. This isn't rocket science, folks. It's easy, absolutely easy. Now, let's look at another thing that we've heard before. Content is king. Content is what makes your website and your social media presence and all the other things you do online, they all work because of content. Without content, you got nothing. The questions that come up, and these are questions you need to answer to yourself, is how much content do I need? Is it pages and pages? Is it books and videos and blog posts and all kinds of stuff? How much? How many? If it's blog posts, how many do I have to do? If it's writing a book and sharing a book, do I need more than one? You want to get the feel for that. How many pictures, how many images do I need on each page? There are no specific answers to that question, but there are general answers, and you want to find those out as you go along. And then how often? That's an important question, and I get that all the time. How often should I blog? How often should I post on social media? Well, the easy answer to that is as often as you can. But the right answer is take a look at your competition. Who is your competition? And this applies to all three of these. What are they doing? How much stuff do they have out there? How many things do they provide? And how often do they do it? And if you do more than they do, you're going to get more organic traffic than they do, because these are the key points. Content, why we say content is king. These are the key points that organic traffic gets driven to. And it's based really on where you fit in the hierarchy. Google doesn't play favorites. Google organizes their list of returns, pages and pages and pages. They organize that in the order that they think your content responds to the question that's being asked. So you need to know what questions are being asked, and you need to respond to it more than your competition does. Now, I happen to do SEO work, and so I've developed some things that I share with my clients on how they can be better. And one of those things is what I call the 4 whys of blogging success. Now, if you're not blogging, you should be. I'm presuming that everybody who hears this is running a home-based online business, and I can tell you that blogging is your number one friend. Yes, you've got to learn your craft. Yes, you've got to prepare all your materials. Yes, you've got to develop new things to deliver to your clients. All of those are important. But one of the activities in that to-do list that you're preparing and fitting in amongst all the other things, you must be blogging. And I say must, not should. If you're not, you're losing. Okay, that's key. In terms of organic traffic, all of those other things I mentioned are important, and the blog is the delivery mechanism for most of them. So get out there and learn how to blog. If anybody doesn't know how to blog, I have a couple of books for sale. Go look at mywizardsplace.com. I'll share that domain at there, that URL at the end. Go and look at it. There's a bookshop page there, and there's 2 books on blogging with my name on them. Okay, don't buy them. But if those interest you, contact me, and I'll provide that information as well. Contact me, and I'll gladly send you a free copy. If you've been on here on this program putting up with me, then you deserve at least to get that much. It's not my freebie that I'm going to give at the end, but I just actually thought of that now. And yes, have a look. And if there's 2 books on blogging, and you don't know how to blog, or you're blogging but you don't feel you're being successful, ask me for either one of them, and I'll give it to you for free. And my 4 whys of success are quality, frequency, consistency, and seniority. I've also written a blog post on that, which you can find by searching for the 4 whys of success. And this applies really to anything we do at all in our lives, but particularly to blogging. This is a good formula to follow. You want to talk about the quality. You want to think about the quality of your work. And to be successful, you need to have better quality than your competitors. Look at your direct competitors, see what they're doing, and offer better stuff. Simple as that, and it'll pay off for you. Frequency, this is the key, the question that most people ask me, how often do I do this? And you need to do it more frequently than your competitors. That's straightforward. It's not necessarily easy to do, but it's easy to understand. So if your competitor posts a blog once a month, you post twice a month. If your competitor posts once a week, you post twice a week. If your competitor posts once a day, then you post 8 times a week, or 10 or 12 or 15. I mean, it just determines whether you want to beat them or not. And those that you can't do more than they do, then you're probably not going to beat them. But there are other things that you can do better, but that's and that comes into the quality. So if you can't beat them, then deliver better quality. Quality of service, quality of product, quality of content that you're sharing, whatever that is. Consistency. This is a place where most people fail. And we all fail in this from time to time. But you want to try to get your blog posts out there at the same time. If you're doing it every month, unless you're deliberately alternating, if you're putting out one post a month and you want to alternate the week of the month that you put it in or the day of the month that you put it in, and you're doing that deliberately. But otherwise, be consistent with what you do. So if you post every Tuesday, then post every Tuesday. If you can't make that connection because you're going to be tied up on a Tuesday, then post earlier, scheduled to post automatically on Tuesday. Your blog system that you're using should have a scheduling process to be able to do that. So keep that consistency going, if at all you can. And seniority, and this is where you get one crack at it, just one. You need to start before your competitors and keep at it longer. It's important to grow that process so that you have the seniority. You've been there longer. Now, I often get people who are building a website. They come to me to build it. They're having somebody else build it. And I start talking to them about, getting their blog posts going. And they say, oh, no, I can't do that now. My web developer says it's going to be another month before the site is ready, and I don't want to make it public before it's ready. Have you ever seen at construction sites when they wall it off with plywood walls? They often cut circles, little holes in that wall so that people walking by on the sidewalk can see in and see what they're doing. Or you ever notice sometimes people who are getting their shop ready to open it on Main Street, a real shop, or in a mall, they'll put newspaper up on the windows, but occasionally somebody will put the newspaper up and leave holes in it so people can look in and see what's happening. People love to see stuff happen. They like to be there from the early times and grow with the place. They feel like they're part of it. And so let them into your website as soon as you're ready to create a website, and that should be like tomorrow if you haven't got one, or this afternoon. Lots of time this afternoon to get it done. Get a domain name, get a host, and get your website up, and get it open to the public. Even if all you have is something on the home page that speaks to people about what you're going to do. Do not put a coming soon plugin in your website or a page up that doesn't allow people into the rest of the website as it's growing. Put up your home page. Start with that. Put up whatever your home page is and just put a couple of paragraphs on it about who you are and what you're going to offer here. And then grow the website in its normal way. Put your about page on, whatever else it is you're doing. Take a month or 2 months or 6 months if you need to. Most websites can be up. A decent website with 5 pages and a blog can be up in a week to 10 days max. So even if your web guy's slow, he should be able to do that. And you want to get that up now, because you know what? You can never go back in time and start earlier than you do. You can't go back from now. Now is all we've got. So if you wait for 30 days and it ends up running long and it's 60 days, there's 60 days of other people beating you on seniority for your blog. You can't do anything about the ones that are already there. They beat you. But you can do about any that are coming along from now on by getting your own out there. So those 4 whys of success are important. Somebody asked me the other day, why do you call them the 4 whys? It's QFCS. Well, we'll leave it at that. Somebody can ask me if they want to. Let's move on quickly to social media. You've got your website. Social media is a wonderful thing. You've got free resources to ask people, to access people and ask them anything you want or share your information. But on social media, you've also got a very limited time to make your point and catch attention, about 3 seconds. So, whatever social media sites that you're on, you want to think about the content of what you're doing there. But the other thing that is important is to use social media to draw traffic to your website. Don't post the whole story on social media. Post a little bit about it, the title, and a little bit about it, and a picture that's linked to your blog. Now, I don't know why, but some group owners on Facebook are really jealous about their group, and they don't want other people to post links. They want to keep people in their group, and so they restrict link posting. It's a choice. It's okay. I just don't agree with it. You might be a group owner and you may think that's great. But I've found in my groups, and I have a couple of groups that, 24,000, 25,000 members. I've got a lot of groups. I actually have 36 groups because I know how to use groups and leverage them for business. And I have a number of groups that are 5, 8, 10, 15,000. And then I've got a lot of smaller groups. It might be 1,000. I've got a couple of groups that have got 15 or 20 people in them. But I allow people to post links. I allow them to self-promote. I allow them to post affiliate links with some minor restrictions. Many of my groups, for example, I think I have 8 WordPress groups. They're all on different aspects of WordPress, and they're focused into particular topical areas about WordPress. And I get people that come in and they just post anything about WordPress. Well, I have a rule that one of the toughest rules that I enforce is, if you post, you can have a link, you can self-promote, you can put affiliate links, but it has to be about that niche in WordPress. So a WordPress plugins group doesn't have posts about WordPress themes, or it doesn't have a post about how to post a blog on WordPress, unless it's asking a question about a plugin for working with blogs. That's my plugin group. And I have to delete people every now and then. I mean, I obviously delete people who post about, Indian saris or knockoff sunglasses or fake Nike shoes. Or I get that a little bit. You get that everywhere, and we delete those people. But I also delete people who are posting about non-topic WordPress things because my rules are very specific. You want to set up your rules to be specific for you, but I do encourage you to let people have freedom. That's why they're online. That's why we're all online as business people. You don't want a person coming in and posting links every 5 minutes. You can put some restrictions on that. You can talk to the person about their social etiquette, but you do want to let people, in my opinion, post links because they will come, they will stay, and they will participate. And along with posting links, they'll answer other people's questions. They will post thoughts and ideas that they have of their own, and they'll share other really good information. And a lot of good information is on other people's blog posts. And if I can't post a link in your group, then I can't share that information easily. Why am I going to take that article and rewrite that whole article, or breaking copyright, copy that person's article and paste it in a post on social media? It's much better if I tell you what I think about that article and post a link to it. So keep that in mind. Use social media valuably. And one thing I will share, the little pictures I have across the bottom of the slide here, I want to share about on your website. There are 2 types of social media links that you'll put on a website. The most important one is the one to general social media sites. The second most important one is the one to your own profiles. And you should have a link to your own profiles. You probably will have from 3 to 5 different social media sites you work with. Not many people can work with more than 5. Most people will have more than 1. And you post those links, usually little pictures or buttons like these, up in the top of your header on your pages, or at the top of a sidebar. Easy to find, easy to see, and you label them correctly with things like "follow me" or something like that. The ones that you post, you'll see them at the top of a poster page, at the bottom of a poster page, or as a flyout at the side that is either there all the time or and scrolls with the page, or when you move your mouse to the side, it pops out. These are links to take the viewer of your website directly to the social media platform. And if they're already logged in, it will take them to their timeline on that social media platform. And they can then share your information, your post, the title, maybe a blurb about it, and a link to it through their Twitter account, through their Facebook account, whatever. And if you have a good plugin to do that, or a good function to do that, it will gather that information automatically from the post that they're reading. And when they go to the, say they go to their Twitter account, it'll pop up the Twitter box for them to tweet, and it'll already have that information populated in there, or they may just have to click in it to get it to go in. And they can send that to their followers. That's important. I was putting this on a website for a person, and I had a plugin that actually puts all of the links that you see here, the icons that are indicated, plus a few more. And I was going to put them all on there, and the person said to me, "Oh, that one's for Tumblr. I don't use Tumblr. I don't know anything about it. Oh, that one's for such and such. I don't use Instagram. I use Pinterest. Take Instagram off. This is a WordPress site. I don't know why Blogger would be on there." And he wanted about half of them off. Well, a lot of his subscribers, a lot of his visitors to his website, use those ones that he doesn't know or doesn't use. And they will post about him on there where he's obviously not posting because he doesn't know them or doesn't use them. And they will post on those services, and he will get traffic coming in from them. Is that not a good idea? So don't just put the ones down there that you use, put the ones down there that people use, that visitors to your websites will use. Powerful tool for bringing traffic to your site. Search engines are what we're really talking about for organic traffic, and there are all kinds of search engines out there. Now, most websites have a search box on them to search that website, but those really don't count as search engines, because if the person searches a website, finds a blog post on the topic they're interested in, and it happens to have a link in it to you, that's a good thing. But that's not really organic traffic. That's either direct traffic or referral traffic, depending which way you want to look at it. But search engines are important, and I said earlier on that it's not just big search engines. There are big ones like Yahoo and Bing, besides Google, which is the largest. Now, Google in North America represents a little over 90%. Worldwide, it represents over 86%. So you really want to be part of Google. When you optimize your website work, you really want to optimize it for Google. All the other search engines will, place you according to that optimization. There's a few little things that you might want to tweak for Yahoo or Bing, but you really don't need to. They will place you pretty well. If you're being placed by Google in the top 3 to 5 spots, then Yahoo and Bing will pretty much do the same. And most of the small engines gather their information from the big search engines. So again, if you focus on Google, you're doing enough. You can get more tricky with it and more picky, but adequate is enough in this regard. So in terms of search engines, your site needs to be optimized in such a way, and I'll talk about that in just a moment, but here's again another real world example. You should be optimizing your site for general terms that people will search for about your website. Now, it happens that teen pinups, these are child stars from TV and movies and rock and roll fame and so on, music fame, I guess, in general. I'm dating myself, but they are pretty popular right now, and there's a lot of people selling these things on a variety of marketplaces, and especially on their websites. That they have e-commerce websites that handle this. I have 2 clients, one who has about 40,000 pinups available to purchase, and the other one who has I think about 23,000 right now. They're both my clients for SEO work, and I just wanted to show you the top of this return. Searching for teen pinups on Google, there were about 5.5 million returns. So if you're down on that page down there with the 500,000 at the bottom, nobody is ever going to find you. It used to be you had to be on at least the first 10 pages to get any traffic, but these days, everybody is so instant gratification focused, and they are looking at give me the answer right now. And they have so many sources to get the answer that they're not going to go down through a whole lot of pages. If you're not on the top 5 pages now, nobody's going to find you. But if you're not on the first page, 90% of the people are not going to find you. The people that are searching, 90% of them get their answer from the first page, or they move on, or they try a different search term. And most of that 90% come out of the first 3 spots. So that's important. Now, I did a search here for teen pinups, and my client has the first picture in that row. The left-hand picture in the row is from their website, ZTAMS. And the first 2 spots on the page are their website and their Pinterest page. Now, Facebook is down in spot 4, their Facebook page, and then there's another thing that they have, I forget which one it is. But they have 4 spots on this page, on the first page. I've had them with as much as 7 spots, and I work with this regularly. I'm under contract to work with it, and I do work on it from time to time. One of the things that I'll be doing in the next month is looking at the people that have moved up and pushed her off of the first page. It's nice when you have 7 spots on the first page. That's 7, well, you want the first spot yourself, and then 6 other spots. That's 6 other competitors that are not on the first page, where 90% of the deals are made. So you own that page. In fact, I said Facebook had dropped down to the 5th spot. Facebook was in 3rd place 2 weeks ago, actually. I took a screenshot of this to show a client and or a prospect. And Facebook was in the 3rd spot. When I took this shot earlier today to put into my slideshow, I wanted it current. Her Facebook had slipped down to 5th spot. 4th spot is my other client. I'm moving them up. And the 3rd spot is somebody totally new. They've never been on the first page before, and they moved right up into the 1st spot. They beat Facebook. And that's an interesting point. I can beat Facebook in an existing search any time of the day, because Google gives more credibility to your website than they do to your social media. And certain other aspects of social media will gain more predominance. Now, I'm going to be able to move that Facebook entry up back to the 3rd spot, and I'm going to be able to move my other client up past this person who's now in the 3rd spot, so that ZTAMS will hold the 1st and 2nd spots. My other client will eventually be in the 3rd spot, and they're going to gain the lion's share of the people looking for teen pinups. That's what SEO is all about. So that's why you want to have your website, because it's really, really hard to get your Facebook page in the 1st spot of the search results for any particular general term that nobody, unless nobody else has a website, or their websites are so badly optimized that they haven't beaten you. If what you've got is a Facebook page in spot 1, I guarantee, and let me know, feel free. I guarantee I can take a brand new website and I can get it to spot 1 and beat your Facebook page.
Steve, we've got a question here I want to pop in because it's a good place for it. It's from Charlene. Google page ranking is always a moving target. Isn't this why regular activity like a blog or on social media is necessary?
Absolutely, and Charlene knows this, necessary. It's what I was saying about the blogging being so critically important, and it is necessary, and it's why search engine optimization is not a once and done thing. If you have somebody that comes to you and says, well, I can charge you $3,000, I can fully optimize your page, it'll be done in a week, and you're done, you won't have to worry about it. That's not true. There's a lot of people selling that service, and it's just not true. It's an ongoing process. Shouldn't cost you as much for ongoing as it does for what you need to do initially to get there. But you either do it yourself or you hire somebody to do it. I've been doing search engine work for ZTAMS now for, I hate to think, maybe 5 years. And that's why she owns page 1.
That's great.
Yeah,
now
it's there.
I'm going to interrupt you just a second here. I know you've got a little bit more to go on the slide deck, which is great. But for those who have come into the room since you started, I just want to let them know that Steve makes his entire living working from home, doing internet work, a variety of internet work for himself and for his clients. And what he is sharing is one of those things that's important to do if you have an online presence and most of your business is generated through online connections. So I want you to finish up, and then I'm going to come back with some more questions, and any more questions if we have them from those attending.
Okay, well, I'm just about done too, which is great. So that was search engine optimization, and you really have to have an idea about it. You have to understand it. Again, it's not rocket science, right? A lot of people will kind of get you thinking that it's really techie, and they know how to do it, and they've spent years learning it, and you can't. Well, that's not true. You can, and especially the maintenance aspect of it, you can do. So you need to have an idea about it. There's good books on it. There's courses on it, and I have those kinds of things available. I'm kind of I don't want to say I'm unfocused or a jack of all trades, a generalist, because although I do a lot of different things, basically if it's online, if it's about your online presence or about your business online, I do those things. And I'm good at many of them, but I've been around a long time. I've been on the internet since before it was public, and I learned my craft. That's one thing that I feel people who are marketing things, selling to people, especially when they're coaching or selling their services, they really need to learn the craft. And I do that. The thing about search engine optimization is it's very particular. It changes regularly. Google, a lot of people try to game the system. And so Google changes things, not to make it difficult for us, but so they can get a better focus on who really should be on that first page in response to a query that somebody is making. You want to go in there and you want to find the top 3 or 4 answers that match what you are asking. You don't want people who've played the system to use keywords to get on the first 2 or 3 spots to answer what you're asking, when their sites don't really answer that at all. They're just trying to sell you something else. So Google is pretty good at that, and they get better all the time. And anybody who complains, any search engine professional who complains about Google's changes, things like Panda, Hummingbird, and various other, they name their changes, their big rollout changes that they make. And a lot of people complain about that. I never complain about that, because the systems that I use, the methods that I use, are exactly what Google wants. And so when they make those changes, my clients either stay exactly where they were or they get better. So, that's really important. And so you want an idea, then you want to work with the person, either yourself or the person you hire, to make a plan, and then you want to put it all into action and make it happen. And search engine optimization takes from 6 to 18 months to get results, really positive results for a variety of keywords and phrases. And then it takes forever in terms of the ongoing much lesser action. If what you do in those first 6 to 18 months, each month is considered 100%, then you probably do about 20% from 18 months on, and maybe even less. But you still have to do something. And as Charlene pointed out, some of that is just putting out good blog posts. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I show them, and not only my clients, it's on my website. If you search for it, I share with them a baker's dozen, search for that, of how to SEO, of a baker's dozen on-page SEO tips. If you search for that on my Wizard's Place site, you'll find a blog post that will teach you step by step what you can do on your blog posts without changing much of what's in the content, and not overstuffing them with a whole bunch of keywords, but it will give you the stuff you need to do on your own on your blog posts, so that you can get good SEO from them. And that's a wrap. I want to share with you a freebie that I was asked to offer. Kat wanted to make this more valuable than just what I would say. So I have offered a freebie, and it is 10 what I want to call them, planners and checklists that will help with your your traffic. The bonus is a file that's called 10 Essential Traffic Planners and Checklists. It's a zip file that you can open up, and you will find sections in there on blogging, email marketing, Facebook, Google AdWords, LinkedIn, Pinterest, SEO, Twitter, video marketing, and YouTube Live. So there's 10 different sections with a checklist and a planner, an outline planner that you can use for any of those. You'll be using some of them now, and you may start to use some of them later. These are evergreen. Keep them around and you'll be able to use them. So that's my freebie. And I want to say thank you for everybody for being here today for all the presentations. There's some good stuff. I was here for the first two this morning, and it's good stuff, and I'm looking forward to the next two this afternoon. But I want to say thank you to you, especially for putting up with my verbosity. And those are some websites that you can go to find out some of the things that I do. Take a screen cap if you don't have time to catch it now. And that's all I've got. Kat, I hope it was helpful to somebody.
Good. Yes, we were getting thank yous coming in. People are putting in their emails privately to me. So if they didn't catch the link that I typed into chat, they will get that information later along with the replay. You can turn off your screen share and we'll bring you back into the spotlight. There we go. Thank you. There we go. Okay, I do have a couple questions for you, and we've got about 10 minutes time left. So if you're here in the room live with us, feel free to drop in your question or comments into chat. I know that the organic traffic is important. I said it I believe in the first session we had today, that someone found me who lived basically down the street from me and didn't know what I did. And she searched on Google and recognized my name when it came up and became a client of mine. So even if you don't follow every step that Steve's talking about, you have to start somewhere. And the more consistent and the more you do with that, the better your rankings will be, the better the organic traffic will be. I'm glad you mentioned social media, because a lot of people who follow me know that I highly value social media, Facebook in particular. Most of my clients and followers come directly from my relationship marketing and just my presence on Facebook. I don't go out and sell. In fact, I've never had a Facebook ad. I've never boosted a post yet on Facebook. And yet over 90% of my private clientele and other people that invite me to speak or join my programs and things like that all come to me because of the presence I have there. But that's not the only place I'm at. I have my websites.
The only thing that I'm concerned with social media is important. There's no question of it. And it's probably more powerful than your website if you had a choice between the two. But because you can have a website and social media and get the best of both worlds, it is really worth the effort to have both. But, the singular problem with any social media is that you don't own it and you don't own your content.
Exactly.
Once you put your content on there, in most cases, you're signing over rights to it, to the platform, or you are agreeing that it can be used openly. So other people can take your content from there and use it openly. So you really need to check the rules and make sure that that's what you want. But, the other thing is that social media comes and goes. Facebook's big right now. YouTube has gone huge. Instagram, which was really tiny not too long ago, is one of the bigger ones now. But any of those can go tomorrow. Absolutely. Do you remember MySpace? It's still there, but people built businesses on MySpace, and then they didn't lose everything in the sense that it was no longer there, but MySpace is no longer of interest to people. You just never hear it from people. Right. The Live Journal. one of the first major blogging platforms. It's still there, I think. I haven't been on it for a long time, but does anybody talk about LiveJournal?
No, no.
And then there was another one, something Fire. I forget, Live Fire or
Something like that.
yeah, I
Yeah,
can't remember, but that's the point. I can't remember.
right. When you were talking, I had posted a message to someone. I don't think it was on the public chat. I'm going to put that now, though. And it said the majority of my business comes via Facebook, no ads, but my 3 websites are vital to the business foundation. And I don't have a lot of patience for people who don't follow the rules on Facebook and find themselves in Facebook jail or kicked off a platform for not following the rules, and then get all upset and how bad these platforms are and they're only out to make money. Well, you're out to make money and you're using a free platform to do it. So, you got to think about that dynamic. Facebook has
totally
a business
agree.
to run
Absolutely.
as well. And
Yeah.
you can, in fact, I did a Facebook Live a week ago showing people my method for marketing into Facebook groups without being spammy or obnoxious. And I have a webinar. So if you were on the, if you're giving me your email for follow-up for this website and the freebies and the newsletter, you'll get also access in information about that as well, where I'll be doing a whole webinar on how to market yourself in Facebook groups. And I'm not talking about just your own group. I'm talking about other people's groups. There is a way to do it where you are not spammy, where you are not obnoxious, and you're seen as value, and you can actually build businesses that way. But like Steve says, don't make that your entire business model, because you're setting yourself up for a huge crash if rules change, if the platform goes away or something like that. Someone wrote that, yeah, Live Fire sounds familiar. They talk about Snapchat, which I've never even been on. Look what happened with Blab. They didn't build in. We loved using Blab.
It was the best.
It was so easy. The marketing was built into it. But the owners, the developers of Blab, didn't build any way in from the beginning. No vision at the beginning on how they were going to make it pay for itself. And it finally came crashing down with, what did we get? 3 days notice, maybe, because they could no longer afford out of their own pocket this huge platform and all these thousands of users and happy subscribers to it. And that was sad, but that's what happens. So as a home-based business, you have to worry about these things as much as a traditional brick and mortar business.
Yeah, it's sad about Blab because they were all but perfect. There were a few minor things that different people thought could be better, but they were so close to perfect. They made many people successful online who had not been before. They introduced a huge number of people to the online video live streaming platform because it was so easy to do. If they'd only sold their outfit or taken the software that ran it and bundled that and sold it, because so many of the services that came along afterwards or who had started along around the same time are cumbersome to use, don't offer the right features, and they would have been happy, I think, to take on that software if it was available at a reasonable price.
Exactly.
And I'm talking reasonable for a company, like maybe thousands or tens of thousands of dollars.
Right. We've got a couple questions coming in.
Yeah, sure.
And a couple, I'm going to start with the comment first. Blab missed out on the monetization opportunity and then destroyed a community. Yes, they did. And we still speak fondly of Blab. Those of us who use Blab loved the platform, absolutely loved the platform. All right. And then from someone else, we have, what advice would you have for someone struggling to balance their current social media presence and building a website? and something I have been unsuccessfully trying to add to my to-do list for over a year now. I'm going to start with this. I have a couple spots left in my Clear My Path group coaching intensive. It's $27. It starts on October 3rd. I will make sure you get the information from that. Steve, I know you touched on that earlier, and in just a minute or two, can you address that again?
Yeah, I didn't want my presentation to be too overly commercial, but when you want to build a website, it kind of gets there. You can do it yourself, or you can hire it done. Those are really two choices. And you need to ask yourself, I think this is important, do I have enough time to do it myself, or will I have to hire it done? And you kind of answer that question in your question. And then the other question is, if I take the time that I would be spending or wasting if you're not getting it done to try to build a website, can I make enough money with that time to offset the cost of hiring the website done? And somewhere in there, you're going to find a balance. And some of that has to do with finding a person that knows, how to build a good website, because there's an awful lot more to just setting up a WordPress and putting some pages on it and some pretty pictures and some content. You need to set that website up to work for you. So you need to find the right person, and you need to find the right cost. I've had people tell me later that they didn't come to me because they thought I would cost too much. I'm approachable and I'm affordable. If you've got a budget to build your website, even a meager budget, talk to me and we'll see what we can put together for you. If you look at Wizard's Place again, wizardsplace.com, all one word, Wizard's Place, go about 2/3 of the way down the page, you'll see my mission statement, and I'll let it speak for itself. But by all means, hiring it done is an option. It doesn't have to cost you thousands of dollars. And you can get a good website if you get the right person who understands the marketing behind it. That's the key. Most website creators, took a course on WordPress or some other product. They'll go and set you up a site because they set up a site for themselves and now they're an expert. A mentor of mine used to say that X is a has-been, spurt is a drip under pressure. So I don't like to call myself an expert. But by all means, talk to somebody who can help you. I'm available. Doesn't cost anything to talk to me.
And I can help you with that as well. I no longer build the structures for them. I hand you off to someone else. But don't get into the trap of thinking you need everything perfect, everything built out. You can start simply with a landing page and an about page, and like Steve mentioned earlier, build it out over time. So one of my specialties is helping you figure out what is the very next step you need to take to get you truly on that path that you're trying to build for yourself in terms of working from home, building a business, earning income, whether that's part-time or full-time. All right, Steve, you gave us some great information, and I appreciate we've got quite a few people here in the room. I believe we've got everybody on the email list now. If you would like to be on the list, because we did not have an opt-in for this, we made this completely free, no strings attached to get into this live summit today. But if you would want to make sure and get the replays, the links for all of the free resources for all of the guests, as well as my guest speakers, as well as myself, and the Rocking Your Path Ahead newsletter, which is mine, make sure and give me your email. You can pop that right into a private chat to me so it's not out for everyone to see. If you are watching the replay, you don't have to bother with any of that because you gave me your email to get the information to watch the replay. 1 minute left, Steve. Give us a parting word.
Okay, sorry about that. I was slurping my coffee, and I was slurping my coffee, and I was coughing, so I muted myself to try to take that away. But what I can say is that by being here, you've taken the next step from where you were. And whether it's me or any of the other presenters, Kat, or some of the people that are here just as guests, you are now in front of some people that know stuff, that can share stuff, and take advantage of that. You got this for free. You can contact any of the speakers for free, and most of us will give you that first contact, that first call or response by email. I certainly will meet live in a Zoom presentation like this with anybody, and the first half hour to an hour is free. Try to deal with their major questions. So it's up to you to follow up. And whatever you're doing, whether you're a coach or a speaker or a writer, or you're just here because you got some stuff going on Facebook and you want to do better, whatever it is, get a hold of the people that you came to see and let us help you as best we can. We are all approachable. I know of everybody here. I don't know a couple of them personally, but I've bumped into them online. And we are all approachable. So it's up to you to get it.
That's great. Thanks, Steve. All right, before we close out this session and take our lunch break here, it's noon in Michigan. I know the timing is different for those around the globe and in different time zones. If you'd like to save what's in chat with the links, just click near where it says file. There's three little buttons, dots. Click that and you can choose save the chat, and it will automatically download to your phone or your computer for you. If you'd like to put your own website link or social media link and would like some traffic and from people attending this session, go ahead and put that in there as well. That is completely optional. Like Steve, I allow gentle self-promotion in my Facebook group, the Rocking Your Path community, and for the same reasons he does. I respect those groups that choose not to do that, but I don't have a problem in my community with people misusing that opportunity. If they misuse the opportunity, they don't stay in the community. All right, it's 1 a.m. for one of our listeners who I know is calling in all the way from Incheon, Korea, which is great. All right, I am Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com, closing this session from our virtual summit, thanking Steve Henry again for introducing us to organic traffic and how important it is in helping to build our online presence and our online businesses. To our earlier guests, I will be leaving the room open for the hour. So if you're live, you can stay right here, or you can come back when we have our next two guests, Sheila Finkelstein, who will be talking about creative tips for shifting perspectives when working from home. And then closing out our day is Donna Blevins, who is one of my favorite mindset people for shifting your mindset and things that are holding you back. She's going to be sharing her 10-40 rule. More great free resources. So we will see you then.